Remember, it was Lewis Howard Latimer, a freed slave who invented the light bulb, not Thomas Edison. Elijah McCoy was the son of a runaway slave who somehow found the time to own over 57 patents on the steam engine. Benjamin Banneker, the son of a free slave, was a farmer, mathematician, and astronomer who designed the layout of the city of DC, while in his spare time reverse engineered the pocket watch and could recreate a more accurate version out of wood. Are you freaking kidding me? Just one generation away from slavery? But I thought we were uneducated savages. This is why the race to the New World consisted of two races: the race for free land and the race for free labor. But not just any land, not just any labor, but the empire builders of West Africa. This is why they put up those posters of Zip Coon and Kingfish.
You know something, Dazzle? Holders here cruising around through the ether waves, over the waterfalls, the snow-clad mountains, and over the great American desert. That may be all right for them horses. But do you remember when we was in the African Navy?
Boy, was we a couple of admirals then, or was we a couple of admirals?
Oh, boy, that show was the happy time, huh? We was back there now again, yo.
Boy, if we only had that old battle wagon again, we could show step out and take Zulu, man, couldn't we?
What if they knew at one time in Iberia and Africa, before the Muslim conquest, the world knew them as Israel and Judah, and the history of the tribes speak to it. For then, I will turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of Yahuwah to serve him with one consent. For beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my worshipers, my scattered people, will bring my offerings.
The greatest love story ever told. When I started to research and visit Hebrew tribes in Africa, I truly started to learn the undying love Yahuwah has for his people. I also started to learn that Yahuwah wanted to reconcile Yehudah and Ephraim, his two sticks, so that we could fully show his glory. What we don't realize is that no transatlantic slave ships docked from Israel. So how were Hebrews taken from Africa in the slave trade? If we do not examine the migrations of Hebrews further into Africa from Israel, then we lose a great link in reclaiming our heritage. One, we must understand that Israel was physically connected to Africa until the Suez Canal was completed in 1869. The Suez Canal was man-made for war and commerce.
War in the Middle East. Israeli forces drive spearheads across the Sinai Peninsula, west to the Suez Canal, south to the entrance of the Gulf of Aqaba, breaking the blockade, capturing the west bank of the Jordan River, and occupying the old city of Jerusalem.
So Israel was physically severed from Africa for war and the love of mammon. It should be noted that the tectonic plates of Israel and Africa are still connected, because what Yahuwah brought together, no man can put asunder. According to the late Dr. Thomas Oden, the author of the African Memory of Mark and founder for the Center of Early African Christianity, Africa was always a haven for Judah. Scholars call this the reverse exodus. The first exodus was from Egypt to Israel, and the second exodus was whenever the Hebrews fled from Israel further into Africa. Now, what we must understand is that Hebrews did not travel from Israel to places like Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Congo, South Africa, Kenya, and Benin in one day or 1 year, but they migrated to these places over generations. Hebrews migrated to Africa for many reasons. Sometimes it was because of the destructions of the temple, war, Greco-Roman domination, Islamic conquest, and even to trade on the Silk Road. Yah's word prophesied that we would be scattered to the four corners, and that scattering did happen. When you look at how many times Africa is mentioned in the Bible, we see that Ethiopia was mentioned 45 times in the scriptures. Add this to the 500 references to Egypt in the scriptures, and we discover that Africa is mentioned more than any other landmass in the Bible except for Israel itself. And remember, originally Israel was physically connected to Africa. A great deal has occurred since the scriptures were written, and a great deal has been distorted and covered up to deceive the whole world, as we're told in Revelation 12:9. Now it is up to us to have eyes to see and ears to hear what Yahuwah is saying in this hour.
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my worshipers, even my scattered people, shall bring my offering. The river that runs through Cush, or Ethiopia, is the Nile River. And the word beyond in this text is the word Eber in Hebrew, which means the opposite side of. So this text translates as the other side of the Nile River of Ethiopia, or my scattered people. Where exactly is that? Negro land, West, Central, and South Africa, the home of the Bantu people. So is it a coincidence that the Bantu people who live beyond the river of Ethiopia were scattered and then captured and sold as slaves in every nation? For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. They have gambled for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they may drink. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians.
So when we're talking about the curses of Israel, there's a few things you need to know before you can go into the curses of Israel. First, you have to understand the scriptures from an ancient perspective. You have to understand what a covenant is. Now, whenever two nations or two people was going to come together, they would make an agreement and they would make a covenant. They would also have witnesses that will witness to the agreement or the terms and conditions of the covenant. In the covenant, they would set blessings if you abide by it, and they would set curses if you would break the covenant. Not only was they making a covenant with each other, but they actually was making a covenant with their lineages, their bloodline, their family, everybody that was within that person. You can actually see this in the scriptures. As when the Most High made a covenant with Adam, he made a covenant not just with him, but everybody that was inside of Adam, his generation. And as you go, you're through the scriptures, you'll see it more with Abraham. He made a covenant with Abraham, not only with that, with Isaac, and also with Jacob, and to